Dom, do the Steelers have a right to be mad at Harrison?
No, the players don't. The fans don't. Like, he erased his legacy. He's the same guy who scored that interception and took it back for a touchdown. The reason why they won the Super Bowl. Like, he's a great player, and James Harrison is James Harrison. You're going to get what you're going to get. He's not a guy who's going to sit idly by while you put him on the sideline and you don't play him and you treat him like he doesn't deserve to be on the field. The idea that he should show them some loyalty is ridiculous, because we all know. I can go through all the examples of just from this year and from history where great players are treated disrespectfully by their team. The loyalty doesn't exist. I get upset and frustrated when everyone expects that the players are supposed to show some sort of loyalty to the team that the teams will never show to them.
Yeah, Don, that's not fair, because the question was, are the Steelers right to be upset? We're talking about the players, and for the players, this isn't about loyalty. They're like you. They understand that it's a business. They're not the fans in the parking lot burning jerseys, which, by the way, we should stop showing those 3 fans because it's not the majority and they just want attention and, like, let it go. They are upset because, according to the reports coming out, he was a bad teammate. It's not about him leaving or going to the Patriots. It's the fact that literally days after he left, these players were falling over themselves to tell stories about how he wasn't showing up to meetings, how he was skipping practices because he was injured, about how he was falling asleep in the locker room, and according to Bud Dupree, not mentoring players. According to them, he's been checked out for a long time. That's why they're upset, not because he left, but because he didn't care long before he left.
These stories come out when you're losing and when you're unhappy with a particular person. James Harrison, the team is winning, but James Harrison was losing on that team and people didn't like him. These are not stories that came out while the team was still playing and while he was still there. These are stories that people tell afterwards to put some spin on it. Like, if you want James Harrison, you get James Harrison. James Harrison is a maniacal competitor, and he may be a little off. To be a defensive lineman or outside linebacker in that league, you have to be a little bit off. So let's not act crazy when James Harrison, the guy who posed in the magazine holding guns, one of the first players to aggressively go after the commissioner, let's not act crazy because he was unhappy and he may have been a bit disgruntled. Like, show him some respect. He is one of the greatest players in Steelers history. So these players, like Pouncey, he's a great player also, but he's not on the level of what Harrison has done for this team. So let's not get, and it's not just Pouncey, all the team and the 3 fans that you're talking about, anyone out there who thinks that James Harrison did something wrong needs to be quiet. He's fine. He's moved on. Maybe he'll share some intel with the Patriots. It's whatever. That's part of the league. And anyone who's bothered by that just doesn't understand the business of football.
You're right that you hear this kind of mudslinging after players leave, but it's usually from anonymous sources in the front office. It's not from literally every teammate rushing forward to tell these stories. That's not common. Sleeping during a meeting because you want to leave, that's not common. I don't care how long you've played or how bad you are or what your legacy is. It's okay to be irritated by that as a teammate. It's okay to say, hey, this guy wasn't a great mentor to us. They're not wrong to want to air out these grievances, especially if he's put forward this narrative that he was unfairly treated in Pittsburgh.
The fact that they put their names on it is a credit to them, but that doesn't mean that it's any different from people doing it anonymously. These are things that come out when a player leaves. And the idea that players never sleep in meetings is kind of absurd. The meetings are often very monotonous and dumb, and plenty of players catch up on their Z's in meetings, and no one cares about it. I've been on teams where Hall of Fame players fall asleep in the meeting, and then they ball out on the weekend, and everyone's like, oh, okay, this guy's allowed to sleep in meetings. If you ball, you can do those sorts of things. When you don't ball, people have a problem with it.
So
I mean, that's what it comes down to.
If I wanted to leave this show, instead of going to the producer and saying, hey, like, I really, this isn't working out for me, if you were talking and I just went, I mean, you'd be cool with that.
That's fine. I'd be cool with it if you were bringing in viewers, if you're balling, but no, people are here to see me. So if I take a nap, it's cool. No one's here to see you, so if you take a nap, they'll be all right. I understand. That's the point. When you're not balling, people have a problem with all these other things. I don't imagine that James Harrison all of a sudden turned into a new person this season. He's been the same James Harrison all season, and everyone's fine with it, putting up with it, until now all of a sudden he leaves the team and they have a problem with it. That's what it boils down to, is these guys are salty and a bit concerned. I think it matters where he went to. Do you think that's not part of it? If he went to some non-playoff contender or if he went to a non-Patriots team, this boils down to them being upset that he left and he went to the Patriots. It has nothing to do with him sleeping in the meetings and all this other stuff. It's sideshow. They're upset because he's going to share intel with the Patriots and he might ride that train to another Super Bowl ring, and they don't like that. That's more the problem.
And
they
you
just don't
think
want to say
that's
that.
okay? By the way, you said earlier, him going to the Patriots and,
Oh, yeah.
and giving intel is fine. I think that is patently untrue. His whole rationale for wanting to leave is, oh, well, they didn't give me a chance to play. He goes to the Patriots. If he doesn't play and he's just there to feed intel to Belichick, then he was lying. I would be absolutely irritated as one of his teammates if that's the case. If they're just using him as an information mule from Pittsburgh, which is a very strong chance of being true.